Well, thank you for having me. I've learned an awful lot already tonight. Right. We do a little bit with flowers, but not to your extent. So tonight what I was going to cover is just to give you a brief overview of Coonamessett Farm, since most of you have not been there. And then what I wanted to do is go over some of the plants that I have been growing recently that I think could easily find a place in somebody's flower garden or landscape design. I do have some experience with landscape. I worked for a small company, The Great Work in Falmouth, for a number of years, and so I've been around landscapes, and sometimes we'll grow a plant and I'll go, that's pretty neat, either in its shape or its color, or something that makes it stick out. And usually these plants are not just a plant, they have some edible or medicinal use. Okay, so this is our farm stand, and the farm has been growing from year to year. The owner, Ron and Roxanna Smallwitz, bought the property probably around '79, and it was mostly wooded. There were very little fields here, and this is in Hatchville, which is the first exit after the Otis Rotary as you're going into Falmouth, Route 151. And it's just off of that exit. So over the years, they just keep adding stuff. So the farm stand, and then Connie mentioned some of the dinners we have under that pavilion. And we have been doing a Wednesday night dinner. We didn't do it this year, we just did Friday nights, but in years past we would do a Jamaican buffet on Wednesday evenings, and then a more, which is a pretty lively evening, and then we would do a farm dinner, which is more geared towards family. Not that the Jamaican buffet doesn't bring families out. So what we do at Coonamessett Farm is a membership farm, and so members, you can get a yearly membership at different levels, or you can buy a day pass. And what that allows you to do is come onto our farm, past the farm stand, and go into the fields and pick whatever we have that's ready: arugula, lettuce, celery, broccoli, anything that's growing and that's ready, and then you pay the same price that we would charge restaurants and small markets, wholesale price. And then we have, as you'll see as we go through the slides, so that's just so this is a small shot of some of our fields. In the background, we have an acre of blueberries. And this is a very early shot because you can see bushes that are not far in the background. Right now we have an acre, probably an acre and a half in blueberry bushes. We have chickens, and one of the big drawers is people, kids and adults, love to go in and get their fresh eggs. We can't keep up with the demand anywhere close. And the people who get there right when we open in the morning at 9 o'clock that get most of the eggs. Again, another shot of some of our fields. Flowers, we do cut flowers. And in the background, you see a couple of our alpacas. I think we're up to like 17 alpacas now. They were bought with the idea of breeding. We do use the wool. We shear them once a year. The wool goes to a pool, a wool pool, and then that goes and gets processed and made into. So there's a couple of shots in the bottom right-hand corner. This is a tank that we raise fish in, koi and goldfish with water hyacinths on the top. We use some of that water to feed our plants in our hydroponic system. On the bottom left-hand side is a white fabric. If you're not familiar with that, it's called row cover or remay. We use that. I use it for a number of purposes. One, it's a great insect barrier. It helps me not have to spray a lot. It allows enough light and air and water through it to make to allow the plants to keep growing, but it's spun fine enough to keep most insects out. I use it a lot on string beans. I'll leave it right on the beans until we're ready to pick, and then I don't have to worry about spraying for Mexican bean beetle. And we'll use it on other. And it also acts as a light blanket. It will keep it'll keep things underneath 2 to 3 degrees warmer than the outside temperature. So in this transition period, I can keep things going under that thin remay a lot longer than I could if I just had them outside exposed. And that fabric comes in a number of different weights. Some growers will use that instead of straw to cover their strawberries in the wintertime, a heavier weight, meaning, and it's gauged by the weight per square foot or square yard. Compost, we do all our animal waste, and a lot of our food waste gets composted and returned back to the field. And our baby alpacas. Yes, they're cute, but they are not very people friendly. They don't interact. They're pretty standoffish. We also have miniature donkeys and goats, chickens, sheep, baby doll sheep. A couple of our workers, little baby doll getting ready to be sheared. When the water level is up, this is a small man-made pond called Pickerel Pond, which has a canal that opens up into a much larger body of water called the Coonamessett Pond. And so we rent canoes out. You can take a little ride. This is one of our greenhouses with our hydroponic system. We do 2 types of system, a gully system and a tank system. Our fish water, we don't manage our fish intensively enough to just use the fish water as nutrients, so we do add some water-soluble nutrients. Grow mostly lettuce in the summer and the winter, and then in the summer most of our production goes into hydroponic basil. We've tried other stuff in the hydroponics, but those work the best for us until a need. So one of our main products is this field salad that we do, and this is we call it field salad. It's not mesclun. We use bigger leaves, and we use a mix of lettuce and Asian greens and some edible flowers. This is available at Windfall Market and Jack and the Beanstalk. Then we do, throughout the year, when we're open to the public, we'll do like a Mother's Day brunch and a Father's Day brunch and this and that. And, so we have a pretty extensive kitchen, entertainment at night. We don't always dress up like that. Pumpkin decorating at this time just went through. This past Veterans Day is we do a cyclocross. We don't do it. Corner Cycle in Falmouth sets it up, and we have a course that winds through our fields and through the woods, and the bicyclists come out and have a great time. This is a pretty nice day. They usually like it cold and rainy so that they get nice and muddy. But surprisingly, it can be a pretty challenging course. This is a picture of a Jamaican buffet. We grill the meat right there. We also do weddings and birthday parties and other events. And this is set up for the wedding. Another picture of a wedding. Part of not directly part of the farm, but we are also a licensed shellfish dealer, and we are a part of the Aptucxet Oyster Co-op, and so oysters are often found at our buffets for sale. And this is the Coonamessett Farm Foundation, which is separate from the farm, but which does a lot of work in fisheries stuff, especially for scallop. They've done a lot with sustainable scallop harvesting and tagging turtles and following them and understanding what goes on with sea turtles. And this is a picture of getting a turtle up, putting a tag on it, and then they monitor the tag and find out where it goes to feed down and up. This is what our blueberry field looks like in the wintertime. And I guess that must be it. Almost live here year-round without protection, but not quite yet. Some people are able to keep them outside with minimal protection depending upon how close to the water you are, where in your landscape you have it. They don't like getting too much below freezing. So I've been playing around with figs now for a number of years. We have some in one of our high tunnels, which is another name for an unheated greenhouse. And it's very high, I think probably 15 feet up at the top. And it just looks like a big greenhouse, and I've got a row of figs down the middle. And this is the first year that they've really put on a lot of growth. So next year I'm hoping to get a good harvest out of it. But the high tunnel, even though it's not heated, protects it from the elements. I'll cut these figs back to about this high and then cover them over with probably remade to protect them and keep them from freezing back completely. But figs, they started out like this, and by the end of the summer they were up about this high. And they don't take a lot of effort. And if you can get fresh figs from them, that's a bonus. Sweet potatoes, because we've been growing those now for probably 3 or 4 years, and I like them, and I added them as a plant you might be interested in. One, because they taste good, but two, they cover a lot of ground with vines, which are really pretty nice as a ground cover. And if you plant them close enough, it really covers the ground. What I want to caution you about, it covers the ground, but it also adds a lot of cover for little rodent type animals. And this is what happens, is they get it. You're not seeing what's happening under all those leaves, and they're just having a good time. And then when you go to dig up your sweet potatoes, all you find is a little shell, a husk. But we didn't lose too many this year. So this is my sweet potato patch. So I planted 2 rows. They were 5 feet apart, probably 12 to 15 inches apart in the row. And they covered an area, ended up covering an area probably 20 feet or more wide. I went down with a mower and just mowed down the vines to try to keep some of the rodents from just having a free-for-all under there. That helped a little bit. Very nice. And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the greens of sweet potatoes are edible. And they're a nice sort of treat like spinach. And can't use them. I tried putting them in the salad mix, and they just once they go into a refrigerator, they just turn to mush. So that doesn't work. This is a terrible picture. Is anybody familiar with a plant called sweet Annie? Okay. This is, it's hard to see, but this is a sweet Annie plant there. And that one grew that's probably 7 feet tall. And that's an annual, very aromatic. It's just, I love sweet Annie. I just can't convince enough people to like it. But I grow it anyway. And it reseeds itself. This is a picture, I have a number of pictures of hot peppers. And hot peppers are, this is a pepper plant that has purple leaves. And so it's stunning in a landscape just because the leaves are purple. And then when this pepper starts to ripen, you'll have a purple pepper, red, orange, and yellow, and we call it a Christmas tree pepper. And they're small, about the size of the end of my thumb, and so the plant itself is just a nice color, purple leaves, and then all these different colored peppers. The peppers are edible, a little spicy, but not killing spicy. But it isn't. So peppers. In our climate, mostly are treated as annuals, but not they. If you can, we cut a lot of our peppers that we really Scotch bonnets we grow a lot of for Jamaican buffet, and so at the end of the season, before the frost gets to them, we'll dig them up and we'll cut them off till they're about this big and bring them into the greenhouse. You can bring them into your basement, someplace where they're not going to freeze, but you don't want them to get a lot of light because you don't want them to start growing until sometime the end of February, beginning of March. So all you need to do is just keep them alive. You're keeping them somewhat of a dormant state, and then once that the sun turns the corner there, sort of around mid-February, they'll start to sprout out again, and it just gives you a big jump on the season. And I'll show you what that. So this is a pepper, a hot pepper that they're red and they stick up instead of hanging down like a lot of these stick up, and they're very prolific. So another neat thing to have on your landscape. These are figs that we grew out in the field. There are two plants here. On the left-hand side is a plant called lemon verbena, and on the right is pineapple sage. People familiar with those? And I put these in here, and we treat these the same way we do a lot of our hot peppers. So come this time of year, these plants are still out in the field. We haven't had a frost that's really knocked them completely out. But we'll cut those back severely so that they're only 6 or 8 inches tall and basically just stem, and move them into the greenhouse. Now our greenhouses, the ones that these go into are maintained around 48 or 50 degrees. It's the low temperature. We don't try to keep things growing as they would during the summer in our greenhouses. We just try to keep things alive. But both of these, the lemon verbena, very, very strong lemon, great for tea. Pineapple sage has a red flower that's very tasty. But these plants right now, it's sort of like a hedge. They're probably 3.5, 4 feet tall. So they really, once they get going, they can really fill out. Aloe is another plant that I still am trying to get people to get excited about. Everybody loves aloe, but they, it's hard to sell them. But my aloe, how many people grow aloe? Okay. Yeah. So an easy plant to grow. And so we take our aloe, and most of the time we stick it in the ground for the summer and then pull it up in the winter time and move them in. My aloe patch is probably the size of 2 or 3 of these tables now, and it all started with one little spindly aloe plant that my wife had that she was getting rid of, and I said, oh, I'll take care of that. And so to use aloe, if you're not familiar, you take the leaf and you skin the outside off, and it's this gel on the inside that you use for burns and stuff. I have found, because that's too much work for me. If you take the young shoots of aloe about this long, I eat those. I just pull it out and eat the whole thing. And it's not bad. No, really, they're not. Nothing compared to trying to eat a full-size leaf. Full-size leaf is just really kind of bitter. But the smaller stuff is pretty okay. All of these plants that I've mentioned so far have very few insect pests for us. This is another picture of different types of sweet potatoes. These round ones, and then I have these long ones here. And I just had a lot of fun digging those up because some of those, like this one here, is probably 4.5 feet long itself. And that's a purple sweet potato. I took these pictures, and they just, maybe I have another one that came out better. But there's a group of turkeys in Falmouth Center. But there's one, and you can just see it here, and it's blonde. It is not the dark brown that all the turkeys are. It's really light yellowish color, and I tried to get a good picture of it. It was like, what the heck is going on? And it seemed the other turkeys seemed okay with it being around. All right, so this is one of my workers, Payton, and she's standing next to turmeric. And turmeric surprised me. I had not grown turmeric before, and this piece, I don't know, maybe it came from Whole Foods, maybe it came from Hawaii. Anyways, put it in the ground and put it in a pot, and nothing happened, nothing happened. All of a sudden there's a little shoot, and then it just gets this huge. You can see how big these leaves are. This is all from just a little piece of turmeric. It's a really massive plant, and right here it's got its flowers, and I'll see if I have a better picture of it. Yeah, you can see the flower, and it grows. It doesn't grow on a stalk. It sort of grows in between the leaves and just comes up. And but that is a pretty neat plant, and so that's all growth from 1 year, from starting this past spring. Ginger is in this pot here, not the red flowers. Is another plant that I like, and I think it's worth growing. It's pretty easy. It's another one that you can bring in and take off pieces as you need them. The green ginger. It's not going to be the ginger that you buy in the store with the rough brown skin. It will have, there is no tough skin on it, so you just take off a piece and you can chop it right up. And just keep a part of it there, and it just keeps spreading and growing. It doesn't have anywhere near as stunning or big leaves as turmeric does. Pretty thin leaf, but fun plant to grow. So this is another turmeric plant, and back to the figs, and back to the sweet potatoes. There was a couple other plants that I didn't get a picture of. This is another pepper, and this is we call this a star pepper. Somebody else calls it a bishop's hat. But this is a mildly, very mildly hot, sometimes not even hot.